Hello YouTubers, my name is X Factor, and you may not be aware of it yet, but Battlefield 4 is drastically and quickly changing before our eyes. I'm going to explain what the community test environment is, potentially how you can get involved, and if you're not involved and not that interested, explain some of the changes that are taking place that are quickly altering the way the game plays, the way it feels, and the experience the player gets. But before we go into that, let's explain this gameplay that you're looking at on some Goldman Railway obliteration. This is not CTE community test environment footage. We're not allowed to show that yet, so this is vanilla gameplay. I can talk about the changes, I just can't show you the changes yet. Using a ACWR as a bushwookie with Pokeballs and C4, and there are several chaotic moments, including a very confused bomb carrier. So, CTE as we're going to call it. This is a PC-based environment. This is beta servers. So as the developers, as the programmers make changes to the game, they're quickly loading up these changes. And you can get involved. They've actually opened up an extra 10,000 slots about a day ago, and they plan on opening up more. So how do you get involved? Can you get involved? First, you have to be a premium member, and you have to be on PC. These changes that are being made, there's feedback being given in private forums that you'll also have access to. And as these changes are made, as the feedback's given, some may make it into an actual release, and some may not. And most certainly, a lot of them will be tweaked and then retweaked. So let's talk about some of the changes that have taken place. The first thing is let's talk about the netcode, the tick rate. They've done several things. Number one, the tick rate just isn't 10 hertz anymore. It's 30 hertz. They drastically increased that, and the hit registration, the damage behind walls feels more consistent. Less kill trading as well. So do you still take damage behind walls? Yes, but it's closer to the barrier, and it's a lot less common. So remember the Battlefield Friends episode where they finally get to a wall and the guy's talking and 5 seconds later he dies? That doesn't happen anymore. So if you just went prone, there might be a split second of damage, but no longer if there's higher pings or if the server's acting up or due to the low tick rate, will you be prone and then continue to take damage after a full second or longer. It seems more consistent. Can it be improved? Yes. Is it improved upon what this is right now, vanilla? Drastically. They've also done a high-frequency network update client option. In the options in CTE, you now have the ability to turn off or on or lower the amount of tick rate your internet connection can handle. Obviously, if you're increasing the tick rate, that's more communication, more data going back and forth. And if you have it set on high, that's a default now to CTE 30 tick rate, but you can lower it depending on your bandwidth, all right? Next thing, screen shake, something a lot of the community has been clamoring about. They've dampened the explosive camera shake. They're looking for more feedback, anything from C4 to grenades to tank shells, and I will tell you this, it is drastically reduced. Even when all hell is breaking loose, it really isn't that bad. I've had the opportunity to play some lockers, some metro, full explosive, and it's really not that bad. But again, this can be tweaked. Another common problem that you would see on the PC side is the chat would get super delayed. Really, really delayed. Type something in, see it 30 seconds to 2 minutes later. They seem to have a fix for that, along with fixing some terrain exploits that would allow you to get underneath certain maps and on top of certain maps, shooting at bad guys who can't shoot back at you. Now, here's a big one for me. As big as the screen shake, as big as the tick rate, they messed and they've given us options to change the sensitivities while aiming down sight. So in Battlefield 4, you're allowed to check your hip fire sensitivity. You can set that up. In your ADS, your aiming down sight would be a reduction based on what optic you're using, or more importantly, the zoom level. So something like the red dot in Cobra would be different than the hollow, which would be different than an ACOG. So as you change your zoom levels of your optic, your sensitivity would change. Very annoying and not good for repetition or muscle memory. They've drastically changed that, and they've done two different things. The first thing is called Uniform Soldier Aiming Default Off on CTE servers. You set this to keep the aim rate constant in relation to screen space regardless of zoom levels. That means if you're using a pistol iron, red dot, Cobra, Coyote, Hollow, ACOG, they all move at the same speed, up, down, left, and right. This also marries your ADS sensitivity to your hip fire sensitivity. So if you want no change, you have that now. Okay, you want a slower ADS sensitivity? There's something called soldier zoom sensitivity. It's on a slider. It's a multiplicative number. So if you get some post-it notes out, attach it to the bottom of your mouse, start with a notepad of some sort underneath, mark a start point of what your Cobra or preferred sensitivity is while going ADS, make a mark, make an M mark after doing a 360 while ADSing. Then you can go in and set your slider based on your favorite optic sensitivity. Maybe you always use Coyote, maybe you always use irons. You can marry that sensitivity up to CTE, so you can have your preferred sensitivity. Now, let's go a little bit further. That's what's available in-game. You can also go into the settings file, which allows you to tweak your vehicle sensitivity and existing sensitivities to a very finite number. And they've broken up the different type of optics. So let's say you want a much lower sensitivity for that large optic for your bolt action. You can do that. You can also set up and change what looks like might be your irons, red dot, Cobra, and Coyote, and hollow might be grouped in that number. And then, of course, the mid-range scopes. As always, YouTubers, thanks for watching, thanks for hanging out, and that's yet another example why you don't cough up the AA. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below. We'll see you soon.